For most Americans, their home is the biggest asset they own. Yet many times I see that people aren't treating that home with the importance that they should to maintain that asset. If you ever went to your financial planner and said, "Hey, what'd you do with my money?" and he said, "Oh, I just threw it in some stocks somewhere," you'd get a new financial advisor pretty quickly. Yet with our home, we just think it's a place just to live, and and sometimes deferred maintenance happens and we don't really pay attention to it. So what I'm hoping is to help you realize that it's time to get very intentional about maintaining that asset. And there are many reasons why homes fall into disrepair, and sometimes people don't believe they have the money to do it. Sometimes they just don't even notice. If you're like me and sometimes you're just not paying attention and you don't even notice things till sometimes they're just a little bit farther along than they should, like maybe a little bit of rot, a little bit of trim that could have been fixed and painted pretty easily and now it's got some rot. I think it's time to just really be purposeful. Take a minute today if you can and just go out and take a look around. Or if you can't get out and look around, find yourself a local handyman or someone that could help you out, or a family member, and take a look at the property and look for things like rot and lifting shingles and mold and mildew buildup and moss on the roof, things like that. Because when we're selling people's homes, I see it costs them tens, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars because of things that could have been maintained along the way for very little money. The biggest things I worry about and I see are like exterior issues, like bad flashing, bad roofing. Once that starts leaking, that opens up a whole different category of problems. So it's always good to just have someone take a peek at that and then tackle it while it's not a problem. And then if you maintain it, you'll get much more life out of that roof. Like a roof with a lot of moss built up on it, that thing is going to decay so much faster than if you just had someone get that moss off that roof. The roofs are made to, shed water, not hold it. So it does rot the shingles much, much faster. Flashing, sometimes you can just see from the ground if they're separated, if they're pulled away from maybe a chimney a little bit, lifted up near a pipe, that type of thing. That can cause huge problems, and sometimes you won't even see the problem until it's too late and you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars worth of repairs. And water, of course, can create mold issues and health issues and everything else. So if you can't get out there and take a look, have someone take a look and look at your flashings, look at your gutters. Many times I see a house that looks well maintained but yet there's plants growing out of the gutters. That's a huge issue. So have someone get up there and clean your gutters for you. These are all things that just cost a few bucks every year, but they make your home more beautiful and they maintain your home like an asset. Windows, doors, check flashings, make sure they're well painted. The bottoms of doors, if there's a landing right there, brick landing, a lot of times the splashback rots the bottom a little bit. So, pay attention to that or have someone look at that, stay on top of that. Because once there's, you start getting a little bit of rot or peeling, that leads to problems a lot with, leaking, mold, mildew, bugs, pests, squirrels, mice. They all love soft wood. They can get in. Bugs love the soft wood. They can get in there and house or do damage. So take care of that stuff up front and it'll never become a big problem. Things like doors, weather stripping on doors, a new storm door will help protect the door, paint, that type of thing, just to keep your doors efficient and operating properly. On the inside, you should maintain your furnace every year. Not only does it make it more efficient and cleaner for the air you're breathing, it will extend the life of that furnace, and again, it'll make your home a more valuable asset should you ever need to tap into that equity or sell the property. No judgment, but if you just can't afford to do these things, maybe it's time to consider downsizing, or maybe get into a condo where you can let someone else do that type of maintenance. Other things like decks. Many times I see decks that had someone just got up there every year or two and just put a quick coat of stain or sealant on it. That deck would have lasted for decades. And once those decks dry out and there's no protectant on it, they decay and they rot and they split and they break down much faster. and they are expensive to replace. So it's much better to spend a little bit of money each year making sure that they're kept in good repair. It also just makes it more enjoyable. A lot of times if the decks don't have the right sealant on it, they start to dry out. People don't even go out there because they get splinters every time I go out there, and it doesn't feel comfortable being out there. So it's just another reason to maintain those types of things. Another simple thing you can do is just get on an annual program with a pest control company. They come in, they bait for mice, they check for termites, they check for carpenter ants, for anything that's going to do damage to your home, and it's really, really inexpensive. I think it's a few $100s a year. I have someone that comes, I get a notice saying, hey, they're coming on Thursday. And I can let them up into my attic if I want. We had ants when we bought the house that had gotten up inside of my blown-in insulation, or my blown-in foam insulation. They actually get inside of that, and so we had to have them get up in there, take some of that down, treat it. Now we haven't had a problem since, and it just gives us peace of mind, and we know we're keeping an eye on our asset. Things like your plumbing. If you have a great handyman, just ask them to check under all your sinks, check all your plumbing, in the basement. Many times when things are starting to go, they'll show you signs. Sometimes the drip is so small that you don't even notice it, but they'll be able to tell if they look at it. So really make sure, because I've seen so many times where someone didn't notice a drip because they almost never go under that bathroom sink, and they didn't notice the drip, and by the time they realized it, it had ruined the vanity, it had got down into the floor, ruined some of the subfloor, created a little bit of a mold issue. So it's good to have all your plumbing inspected every now and again, and these are all things that are really, really inexpensive to keep an eye on. And then your lawn. If you have a nice lawn, really if you can't maintain it, keep it up to par, hire someone to do it. If you can't afford that, I get it. But maybe look at ways to save more money and to be able to at least keep up on it, because you put all that time and effort into your home, into earning the money to be able to purchase your home, and then to see it later on when it's time and you may need that money. And that's we all want to leave something to our loved ones, and many times you want to leave this beautiful asset that they can either enjoy or that they can sell and use that money for education or other things. And many times it's a burden. It's, hey, they got to come in here and now they got to start paying for things that weren't done for years. So if you have the ability, do it. If you don't have the ability, there are ways to try to figure out how to get some of this stuff done. Maybe you should consider downsizing to something that you can afford to maintain, and that maybe it's a single floor living that you can do a lot of it yourself, or a condo where someone else is going to do a lot of that exterior maintenance for you. But listen, if you have any questions or you don't know who to call, and you're here on Cape Cod or even the South Shore, South Coast, my number's in the information here. Just go ahead and reach out. I'll connect you with someone, and so you can get a price and get an idea of what it will cost to have it all taken care of, so that you can maintain your asset. Really treat it like the asset it is. Treat it like a valuable investment, and it'll pay you back in spades. That's all for this week. Talk to you next week.